Number 3.
Illustrations by me.
So we are moving right along to the 3rd series in this, and I have the 3rd swatch bundle right here, the little egg crate thing that makes me feel I'm like I'm living in 1973. And it just that's what I think of, these little paper egg crates. Anyway, that's okay. I like that. I enjoy it. They put so much paint down here. Thank you, DaVinci. But I'm a little nervous about this one. Let me show you why. Look at this set here. We have yellows, we have some oranges, we have reds down. There was some color variation there. Then you go to the next one. We did this one. And you have some reds, some dark, deep reds, a little bit of pinkish colors, and into the purples, and some a little bit more color variation again. This one, all blues, just about. There's maybe 2 or 3 violets up here, like a lilac or lavender, and then some violets and things, but almost the rest of this is all blue. So I don't know what kind of variation I'm gonna have here. How well can I really change some things up with a bunch of blues? Can I do it? Can I pull it off? You tell me. At the end, you tell me if you think I pulled it off. I don't know if I did. And in this one, again, not a sponsored one, I'm going to go ahead and just use, I grabbed a sable brush. I want to use it. This, you know, everyone has different, this is from Golden Maple. There's a Golden Maple sable. I'll put the link down below. But everybody has a different idea. This is supposed to be a 6. Do you see how big that is? That's like, compared to some of the other ones I was using, this might be like an 8 or a 10. So just everybody has their own sizes. It has to do with the belly more than the size of the brush, but that is a big brush. That's a wide brush. So I'm going to try, I don't know if I'm going to use the 6 or the 8. I'm not sure what I'm going to use yet, but I'm going to use one of these. It's a standard sable brush just to play around with a little bit. And I will, so are you enjoying me using real brushes? Because everybody always says, oh, you're just using the water brush again. I'm using the sable. I'm using brushes for this. I've been using brushes. I will continue. Thank you to the good people over at Moody who sent me that giant water pot. Hold on. This thing here, I have it. I have a little piece of foam on the desk that I sit it on so it doesn't scratch the desk. And then this is just, it's a giant, look at that. I can't spill it. You hit into it, it doesn't spill. So thank you. I can use brushes now on my desk because I won't knock that over and spill it everywhere. So thank you to them. I'm using the brush. We're going to do it. Now for the swatch, you know I'm using the water brush. It's just easier with the swatching. It's easier to rinse it out constantly. But for the painting, I will use this and see how it goes. Hopefully you're enjoying this series. Please let me know if you are. I am having a wonderful time with this. I love doing this. I love just challenging myself to do things that maybe I don't normally do. And one of the things is that I use now. And again, I want to point out, thank you to DaVinci again. Thank you so much for the giant dots that are all over this. I may have already said that in this video. I don't know if it was this one or if when I did that Patreon, I recorded it. But anyway, the giant dots, I'm going to be able to swatch these out and paint with them and then have enough left over for the last video in the series, which is me just pulling different colors from all the palettes that I like and putting them down together. So we're at 3. The next 2 are going to be interesting. There's a lot more color variation in those 2 palettes over there. But this one, not much. This is probably the closest to itself in this palette here as far as what I'm seeing. We'll see. We'll find out. But you let me know what you think. I hope I do a good job here. All right, let's get right into the swatching. Okay, just so you're aware of the colors, we have this sheet here. This was the first round we did. Then we moved to this round here. A lot of interesting colors. Good job on DaVinci for making me care about colors that I've never cared about before. Some of these colors are deep and dark and beautiful. So because they're not bright and they're not pale or pasteled, I usually don't like these colors, these types of colors in other companies, other brands. But these are some of my, look at how they separate a little bit. These are some of my favorite colors in here, and they're not usually what I like in any kind of brand. So thank you so much, DaVinci, for that. And they will go into the final palette, I'm sure. I'm going to do something with them. So let's start off here. We have lavender. We have the ultramarine violet here. Just wait, hold on. Just a reminder now, we have the light fast rating, whether it's transparent or not. Then you have the, in the box there, that's the series. Then if there's a staining, it would have an S next, but there's no staining here, so there's no S. If it says a G, G1 is slightly granulating, G2 is extremely granulating. And just so you know, my 5s look like S's. So if you see a 5, it could be the S right after the box is an S, not a 5, if you see that. Okay, so for lavender, we have the ultramarine violet, that's the pigment there, and a titanium white. And let's see what that does. Now, the other thing I want to mention is that these colors are extremely easy to re-wet. So I'm not having any trouble at all re-wetting these pigments. So, okay, here's lavender. And that's what I'd expect for a lavender. I'm not a big lavender fan. Some people are. It's a little bit more of a pastel kind of color. Not necessarily my thing. Not saying there's anything wrong with it. Just not usually my thing. And it moves through the water a little bit. Look at that. That's wonderful. Joyce's mother, Violet? Who's Joyce and why does her mother get a violet? Does anyone know who Joyce's mother is? I'm sure she's a wonderful lady. But why does she get her own violet? I don't understand. Anyway, but we'll talk about that a little bit later, maybe another video or so. We gotta figure that out. Okay, so it's a 2 light fastness, which is very good. It's completely transparent. It's a series 5 and granulating 2. So this should granulate tremendously, where this is just a little bit. Then we have here the PB33 is the original manganese blue pigment. It's genuine manganese blue, and I thought that was completely discontinued from everywhere. I have no idea how they got it in here, but they did. Then we have a phthalo blue, and then we have a quinacridone violet. So let's see what that looks like here. It looks like a dark purple color. So yeah, it's a darker purple color. You can see a little bit of granulation right away. Very pretty color. It's a nice color purple if you like purples. I usually am not, again, not into the, look at that, not into the purples so much. It's not a bad thing. I don't not like the color. I just don't use them very often. But for a granulating purple, I may use it. It just depends. That looks like it's separating out a little bit. So maybe this is a beautiful color that I might use a lot. We'll see how that goes. Now we're moving over to the ultramarine violet. It's a 1 light fast, which is excellent. It's completely transparent. You have a 2, which is the series, so it's a less expensive pigment. And then you have a G2, which means it's extremely granulating. Now, PV15 is that ultramarine violet, and something I didn't mention before when we just looked at it, is that for whatever reason, I do not like an ultramarine blue. However, I like the ultramarine violet. I really like that color. It's just, it makes a nice violet because it's a red-leaning blue. So it makes a very nice purple, which is something that a lot of people like. So I do tend to like the ultramarine violets for whatever reason. Moving right along, we have the mauve, which is a 2 light fast. It's very good, transparent. It's series 3, staining, granulating 1. We have the quinacridone violet and the ultramarine blue. So that's wonderful. Let's see what that does. I don't know why you would mix those instead of using that ultramarine violet when you're trying to mix a mauve. But no, this is definitely a different color, completely different color. And now I see why you wouldn't use it, because you want to get a completely different result. And that's the result you're trying to get there. So very different. Again, purples, not a whole lot, my thing. This may be a little bit more, oh, that moved like crazy through the water. Did you see that explode in the water? That's good. I like that. But this may be a completely different than I thought set, because we do have a lot of these purple colors in here, not just the blues. And now we have a DaVinci violet, and this is everybody's favorite pigment here, the PV23, which is a dioxazine violet. It's a very good light fast. We have it semi-opaque, series 3 and staining. This dioxazine violet, oh my goodness. The dioxazine violet gets almost completely black, and that's why I wanted to just water this out a little bit so you can see some of the lighter shade down here. But look at that, it's black. You can't see it, and that's what I love about this color, is if you want to do that, you can. I don't use it very much. It's not usually ever on my palette. I will try and use it in this painting though, because it's great to add darker areas. That's what it's for. It's a very strong, and there you go. That's how it moves in the water a little bit. And but it's a very strong, dark color. And I do like that about it. Sounds like a very interesting color. I'm going to really enjoy using this, I think. This Artemis here is a excellent light fastness, semi-opaque, Series 4, staining, granulating 2. That color right there is the Viridian green. That's the green that I like. I would use that over a phthalo green every day of the week. The problem is, when it's dried, it's very hard to re-wet, but that Viridian green is absolutely beautiful. I love that green. PB29 is your ultramarine, and then the PR177 is an anthracnone red, which is like, Daniel Smith uses it for, they call it an anthracnoid red, and I sometimes have that on my main palette depending on what I'm doing that day. But sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. Now this is going to be a dark color, and that's what I'm expecting, this Artemis here, because you're mixing some colors that don't necessarily go together. When you mix them, they get a little dark, so they kind of, you know, they counteract each other in the mix. So this is the color here, Artemis, and it's a pretty color. It's a little bit, it's like a shadow color, I think. That's what I would consider it, like a shadow color, but I wonder if it does separate a little bit, because it might. The colors that are in here are, you know, that when you put Viridian with something, it tends to separate out a little bit, but not always, but sometimes. But let's see if it does that. I'm just gonna clear this out a little bit and see if it does that in the lighter part down here, because it looks like it is already doing that over here. Definitely very granulating, very pretty color. Let's see, it does this color down here is different than this up here. There's a little bit more green, and there's a little bit more what looks like a darker purple kind of color. So they're very interesting. I'm going to try and use that when I can. Now this stormy blue is also going to be interesting for me. I'm going to like this one. So you have your excellent, it's good, very good light fastness. Semi-opaque, Series 4, granulating 1, so a little bit. Now this PB60, that's the Indanthrone blue. A lot of people love Indanthrone blue. It's a dark, deep blue, and a lot of people like that. And then you have a red iron oxide with it, so that is a beautiful combination of colors. I love my red iron oxides. You know that. I tell you that all the time. But let's see what it looks like. It looks like a dark color, which it should be. And it is. Look at that color. I'm going to water this out a little bit, clear up some of that so you can see it. But that looks like a deep, dark blue. That's stormy blue. That's a great name for that. Stormy blue, you got that right. Look at this color coming down here. And it just kind of, it's a beautifully, look at that. That's a beautiful color. You want to do a stormy cloud, you do that. You do like a water scene, storms, and that's your lighthouse scene. You put this on there. That's a really pretty color. Okay, next up we have indigo, which they're using a Prussian blue and a quinacridone violet. So that's an interesting combination for indigo. I wonder how dark it's going to be. I'm not a fan of the Daniel Smith indigo, even though I use that brand a lot, but I am not a fan of that. I do not like it. But some other indigos I really do like. So I want to see what this looks like. This is a very good light fast. It's completely transparent. Series 3 staining with a little bit of granulation. Let's see how this works out. This indigo here. Now, real indigo, of course, is very fugitive, so they don't use it. And it's hard to get a good indigo that matches the color. Oh, yes, that's a good color. Okay, they did a great job with that indigo. Now, the reason I don't like the Daniel Smith version is they use it's too warm of a blue. And indigo is not a warm blue. I mean, I guess it could be if you use certain variations of it, but really it's not. It's just a dark blue. And this is a beautiful color. So this is another color that people use for stormy skies. So if you wanted to maybe just make it a little bit more to the cooler side of the blue, you might use something like this. This looks like a little bit warmer, but still absolutely beautiful. They warmed up with that PR101, but still very nice. This here, very beautiful. I really like this color in here. Okay, now we're going to this says Indanthrene blue, but it's an Indanthrone blue for the PB60. They just changed the letter there. Don't worry about that. Now we have a regular light fastness, semi-transparent, Series 3 staining, and let's see what that looks like. Now this is going to be a dark blue. That's what it is. It's a dark blue. You're going to see why this got so dark is what you're going to see. It is a little bit more of a warmer blue in my opinion, and it definitely is, but definitely a dark blue, and that's what it is. So just picture using that red iron oxide with that, you get this color over here. It darkens it up, it mutes it out a little bit, but it also gets, now this is a lot of people love this blue. A lot of people use it. A lot of people love it because it can get very nice. Yeah, I think it's a nice color. It's just not my shade. I don't like the warmer blues, but a lot of people love this. You tell me, is this considered one of the classic colors? Now look, I didn't put any water down here. That's your fault. You all did that to me. Hold on, I will get there. I'm just so distracted by the beautiful colors that I didn't do that for 3 of them. That's not good at all. So tell me, is that Indanthrone blue, is it a classic color? Because I think it is. I think a lot of people use that. That's a very popular color that I see used with Daniel Smith. Not Daniel Smith, with Winsor & Newton. Winsor & Newton, a lot of people that use the Winsor & Newton paints use Indanthrene blue, and they really like that color. And I wonder if that's just because it's a more of a classic kind of color. Winsor & Newton have been around for a very long time. They've been doing this for a long time, while past a lot of these other companies. And maybe it's just a classic thing now. None of those really moved a lot in the water. Some moved a little bit, but not a lot. That's okay. Don't worry about it. Look, this separated. Do you see it? It's separated out in here. Oh, I'm going to love this color. I really will. And that's a light, fully excellent light fastness on this color. So it's a gray that kind of, oh, I'm going to use this color. I like that. I'm going to get that for my regular palette, my everyday. That'll be on my set. After I'm done with this, and I'm going to get my own set put together of these, this will be on there. And now we're moving over to the Prussian blue. And of course, Prussian blue is, again, another dark blue that people love. Now, I know Prussian blue is a classic color. That is a classic color. A lot of oil painters use Prussian blue. Bob Ross loved Prussian blue. You know that, right? I don't think I've ever seen him paint without a Prussian blue on his palette. But anyway, it's a very classic color that a lot of people like and a lot of people use. Didn't move very much in the water, but a very dark, deep color. And it's a little bit of a slightly different color compared to some of these others here. So just a little bit more. This is, I would say, cooler than some of the other Prussian blues I've seen. Some of the Prussian blues I've seen are very warm, almost like this color, almost like the Indanthrone blue. But the Prussian blue is a little bit cooler here in this particular shade. Now we have a Jackson. Why does he get a blue? So Joyce's mother got a violet and Jackson's getting a blue. Who's Jackson? Who are we talking about here? Oh my goodness. I don't know who that person is, but they get a blue. So their blue is a 1 light fastness, is transparent, Series 5 staining. And they want to mix a cobalt blue with a dioxazine violet. Now that's an interesting combination. So I'm a fan. Cobalt blue is a true blue, and the dioxazine violet is very, very dark. So let's see what this color, it should be a dark color. Let's see how it comes out here. Yeah, it's very warm and very dark. I don't know if it's necessary. Can't you get this with a, like a, I don't know, an ultramarine, just a little bit darker of an ultramarine or something like that, or I don't know, but it's a little bit darker. I'm loving that color. That is turned into a beautiful color. They're doing a great job with these. Some of the colors that I never pick on my palette, I want. So they're doing a good job. They're doing something right. That color separated too. Joyce's mother has great taste here. It looks just like this one's separating, this one's separating. Whatever she liked was I'm gonna be a fan of Joyce's mother's violet there. And here we go with the cobalt blue in the water, and it moves a little bit there. I don't think there's very much violet in there. It's just enough to make it a little bit warmer than a regular, because you know the cobalt is really more like a true blue. It really is. At least sometimes it leans a little bit warm, but not that much. This is a very warm blue. This is in the territory of like a French ultramarine kind of color, but much more intense up here. And here we have a cobalt blue deep. So I don't know what's going to happen here, but that is the cobalt blue pigment. And we have excellent light fastness, transparent series 5, granulating 1. Let's see what happens. Why is it deep? Is it deep because it's a dark color, or is it deep because it's, I don't know what that means. Maybe it means it leans more red. No, it's a little bit more. That's what I would expect from a cobalt blue, just about. I mean, it's a, and we're going to see how this differs from the regular cobalt blue down here. But it's a little bit more intense than a cobalt blue, maybe. Sometimes the cobalts can be a little less tinting strength. So this one is very intense. That's a lot of color there. But you can get a nice sky color with the cobalts when you lighten them up. They work very well. I'm a fan of cobalts, but this one is nice. It's not a bad color at all. Okay, so let's see this cobalt now. We're looking at a excellent light fastness transparent series 5, a little bit of granulation, and it is the cobalt blue color, and that's, yeah, so there is a little bit of a difference. This could have been called the cobalt blue red shade maybe, because this one is a little bit lighter, in color, a little bit more of a true blue, which is what I expect from a cobalt, is that it's a true blue. It doesn't really lean cool or warm. It's just a true blue. And that works. That's what I'd say that is. That works well. So I see it now. You have to put them next to each other sometimes. Sometimes you can't tell the difference. So they both move about the same in the water. But this one is a little bit warmer compared to this one. So good job in naming it. I guess that's what it's called. The deep is a little bit warmer. Phthalo blue. Now, okay, so here, I like that they're going to show you this. Here's the red shade. Here's the green shade. So there's 6 different phthalos that I'm familiar with, or at least that I know of. The one, it's when you see the 15:1, that's usually the red shade. And then the :3 is usually the green shade. So, but there's like 6 different ones. So let's just see. So this is a good light fast, transparent, series 3 staining. And of course the phthalos are all staining. But the red shade is up first. Let's see how that works. Yeah, so this is a cool blue. For all understanding, this is a cool blue. You take this away, it's a very cool blue, but this is still the red shade. And you'll see when I do the green shade that the difference between them. It's hard to tell sometimes. If you're just looking at one of these, if you only have one and they only give you one, you don't know. You can say you know. I've said I know. I don't know. And that moved a little bit in the water. But it's very hard to tell. It's almost like the phthalo blue red shade does get a little bit deeper. You could call it a phthalo blue deep, I guess. It gets a little bit deeper compared to the green shade. So now we're going to go to the same characteristics as the other one, but we're going to go to the green shade now. And that's the green shade. And you can see that it's a much cooler color compared to the other one. But again, if you don't have them side by side, sometimes it's hard to tell. You can almost tell that that's almost like a, it's not. Don't jump on me for this. But when you look at the lighter sections here, This is more of a truer blue, closer to this side, even though it's not. And this is more like a turquoise-ish color. I said ish. It's not a turquoise, but it leans that way, and that's the only way you tell them apart. This one did get very deep, very concentrated. So I've always been a fan. I know it stains, but I've always been a fan of the green shade of the phthalo blue. I've not been so much a fan of the red shade, but I can use it because, again, like I said, if you put them, you don't put them side by side, you can't tell sometimes. If you look at these, they're very similar. Now, usually, so that the way that they laid this out is a little different. Usually, you come down from the purples, and then you have the blues that lean red. But this is a cooler blue. This is a cooler, so we have some redder blues here, and now we're getting the cooler blues. Now we're going to go back to the redder blues. So this is a French ultramarine. All that means is that it's a red shade. That's why it has a little RS there. It's a French ultramarine. When they make it a little bit more red, it's still the same pigment. It's just how they treat it. You have an Excellent Light Fast transparent Series 2 because the ultramarine pigment is very inexpensive. The granulating 2 because it granulates quite a bit. And this is the ultramarine pigment. So let me get this on here. So the French ultramarine, this is going to be redder than the other ultramarine. And when I say redder, I don't mean that there's actually red in it. So when I say something is warm, I mean it leans red. When I'm talking about a blue, I say, oh, that's a warm blue. It leans more red. You can tell there's more red in this because it's closer to purple. But that's actually what it really means. It means that the blue leans to the purplish side, which is to the red side. And then when it's cool, it's leaning to the yellow side, which is actually just leaning to the greenish side. So that's what I mean when I say it. Some people classify things differently. That's fine. There's not a hard, fast rule. You don't have to worry about how people classify things. Don't get into that world. You do things the way you need to do them. It makes sense to you, then that's what you call it. If you want to call this a cool one and that a warm, I don't care. It doesn't matter. You call it whatever you want. Now we're into the ultramarine blue. Now usually, I want to say this because I'm going to say this ultramarine, a lot of companies, when you put it down on the page, it has a lower tinting strength on some of these. This one was very deep and vibrant. So that's interesting. This cobalt, again, the cobalts usually have a lighter tinting strength. Not this one. They've got a lot in there. These are beautiful colors. They put some intensity in these. And there you go. It's an intense color. There's definitely a nicer color, but none of these are light tinting strength, really. There's maybe up here, the ultramarine violet, maybe, but not really. Maybe the lavender, but not really. So it just, these are these are the most vibrant paints, just like every other brand I've ever seen. I don't understand when some people, they talk about DaVinci as if they're not quite the standard of some of the other ones. Let me tell you something. I have not seen anything that isn't to the standard of any other brand. These are at the top of the line just with the rest of them. Okay, now we're on to the ultramarine. Now, I've never seen a green shade of ultramarine ever in my life. They claim to have one. So they have the French ultramarine, which leans red. The ultramarine, which still leans red, just not as much. And now a green shade. So I wonder if it's more like a true blue. That would be my only guess, because if it's an ultramarine, it's going to be warm. Or warmer, I should say. It's not going to look like this here. So here's our ultramarine green shade. Okay, so that kind of looks like the same shade as this cobalt. That's what it looks like, a little bit of the same shade. So it does get a little bit cooler. It's not to the level, please don't even think I'm saying it. It's not to the level of this phthalo blue, even the red shade. Not even as green as the red shade, but it is greener than the standard ultramarine. So it just moves a little bit more to a truer blue, kind of like that cobalt. I've never seen a company do that before. I don't think so anyway. You correct me if I'm wrong. Have you ever seen me swatch a green shade of ultramarine? I've never seen that before. Let's slide up a little bit here. I'm gonna try and get all of the colors on the page, at least if you can't see the names, that's okay. All right, so this cerulean blue, let me pull it back just a touch. Okay, did that help? It's not pulled back a lot. I mean just a little bit, just to get all the colors on the page. Anyway, on the screen, not the page. The colors are on the page. Don't worry about that. I mean on the screen. Now, Cerulean Blue Genuine is a color that I absolutely love. Excellent Light Fast. It's more opaque. All the ceruleans are. Series 5 granulating just a little bit, so there's some granulation. PB36 is the cobalt chromite. That is the general... It's what most companies use for a cerulean blue or a cerulean blue chromium. Let's put it that way. If you see a cerulean blue chromium, it's going to be that one. But some of them call it like a cobalt cerulean or something like that. But it's a cerulean blue, and I love the color. You say, Pete, why do you love the color? Because it's a cool blue. There it is, cool blue. Now, this is what I see a lot of times. You have these ceruleans that are slightly lighter tinting strength than some of the other colors. And it is slightly lighter tinting strength, but a beautiful color. There's granulation in it. It's a very nice color. I do enjoy it thoroughly. I think it's a wonderful color. And I like ceruleans. That's just me. I usually like the cerulean colors in every brand that I see. And it moves a little bit in the water. So very nice. This is really nice in a sky. I know it says it's opaque, but I don't care. I love it in a sky. I think it's a beautiful color. Now, the cerulean blue hue is what a lot of other companies do. So they're giving you the option here. If you don't want the cobalt chromium, which is a little bit more toxic as far as paints go, and you want the cerulean blue, but you just want it in a hue, you get the phthalo blue with a titanium white, and that's what they always do. And the titanium white's added to give it this lighter shade, just like this, and to make it more opaque, just like the regular cerulean is. So this is has a good light fastness, semi-transparent, so because they added the white to it. Series 2, so it's a little bit cheaper of a pigment, and staining. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, here we go. And it's not really, I'm going to give them a little bit of crap for this one. That's not really a cerulean blue. That's just a lighter shade of this phthalo green. So that's a phthalo green, first of all. And then you're adding the white to it to lighten it up a little bit, make it a little bit more pastel, but it's not this beautiful color right here. It's a different color. It's pretty, but it's not this. This is beautiful. Now let's go to the sea and sky. This is the same pigments, only they're using them, well, I guess, a little bit differently, because this is a Series 3, so a little bit more expensive. Maybe they're using a little bit more of one than the other. You have great light fastness, semi-opaque instead of semi, so they're using more white. There's more white in this one. That's what I'm going to gather from it. And then it's staining as well, because the phthalo's in it. Of course it's staining. So here it is. And yeah, so that's a little bit closer to a cerulean color. It's not quite. This is, oh my goodness, I love this color. Anyway, I'm going to keep saying that. It's a little closer to a cerulean than this is. So this should be the cerulean blue hue, and that one can be the sea and sky, I think. It's just, it's okay. It's just, I like it. I think it's a nice color. It's very pretty. I didn't do this. Hold on, I'm going to get there. And it moves a little bit I had a little bit of extra water too, so it moved a little bit, but not quite all the way through the water there. And this one here, it moves a little bit, but not quite. There was a lot of water there as well, so not quite. Just moves a little bit. That's fine. You can see after I say it moves a little bit and then it starts moving more, but you see it. I guess I'm completely wrong. So up here when I was talking about this manganese blue, I guess I'm entirely wrong. It seems that it's here as well, and it seems to be, I guess it's still used. I was just checking a couple other ones, and they say that they use them. Old Holland and the Block X and some other ones still use the original PB33. I thought it was off the market. I thought it was gone, but it seems to still be here. So we have a good light fastness, transparent Series 5, and a lot of granulation. And they mix a little phthalo blue into it to, I guess, give it a little bit more oomph, because the manganese blue, if you've ever used the regular traditional manganese blue, which I've used before, it doesn't have a lot of power behind it. It's kind of dull. It's very low tinting strength. You can barely see it sometimes. So let's see here. Yeah, and that's what I expect from that color. Looks just like like a cerulean would look or something like that, or in the same vein as a cerulean. It's not the same color, of course, but it's in the same vein as that color, and looks nice. It's a nice color. I enjoy it. I have to see if the one that I have a manganese blue from Daniel Smith. It's an old one. I don't think it's I think it's a hue. I don't think it's a real manganese blue. I don't think they have that. But this DaVinci's has two of them here, and I guess they're still using it. I guess they can still get it. So that's great. Now the manganese blue, you know, it's a barium sulfate base. Now it's something else on the barium sulfate base, but you know what they do with barium. Don't do that. Boy, I can't believe I was wrong. Imagine if I was wrong once. You can't even imagine if I was wrong. Oh, what did you just do? What did you do? This is Prussian blue. What the hell is that doing in there? Oh, they tried to pull one on me. Well, I've got my other brush sitting here. You tried to pull one over on me. There's my green brush. Oh, come on. It's a Prussian blue. Why would you add green to it? Then someone said to me, oh, the phthalo green, you should get used to using colors you don't like because it's just sometimes it opens up your horizons. I've used that color for more years than I want to admit. I hate it. But I do like some of the mixes. I do use some mixes of the... Matter of fact, the core olive green is one of my favorite of those core greens, and it uses the phthalo in it. But don't worry about it. I don't know why it would be in a Prussian blue, but it's a green shade. I know, it's a green shade. Leave it alone. It's Prussian blue. It should not have it in here. It should not be here. It's a Excellent Light Fastness Transparent Series 3 staining. Yes, it absolutely is. Look at my brush. And it's a granulating 1. And it's a Prussian blue with a phthalo green blue shade. Some of you wait for me to come across this just so you can laugh at me. Oh, look at that. It's a pretty color. It's a pretty color. Just use the Prussian blue. You don't need that. Doesn't need to be there. Prussian blue is pretty all by itself. It doesn't need help from this ridiculous bucktooth cousin over here. Oh my goodness. I don't know what to say. Prussian blue is a beautiful color. It really doesn't have to be anything. Yup, look, it added to the green. Look at the very end of that brush right there. It green even more, right on the tip. Go back to my other brush now with blue. Beautiful blue on it. I like that. Why couldn't you use Viridian? You wanted to make it a little green. Use the Viridian. Viridian's beautiful. Use that, not this thing. Okay, so now we are moving over. I'm moving on now. It's a very pretty color. Thank you for including it and ruining my life. Phthalo turquoise, we have an Excellent Light Fastness Transparent Series 3 staining, and it is the phthalo turquoise. What do they call it? Heliogen Blue L 7560. No one's going to remember that. Just call it phthalo turquoise. And this is going to be exactly what I think of when I think of a phthalo turquoise. Phthalo turquoise is this beautifully greenish color, but it's a blue that leans green, and it's just absolutely wonderful. See, this is not the teal. This is a turquoise. This is what I think of when I think of turquoise, not teal. That's a different color that's way more green. And it doesn't really move much. It never usually does. You know, they have changed my brushes. I'm constantly cutting out. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it anywhere on here? Is there a dark enough? Yeah, you can see it there a little bit, I think. Do you see those hairs that are sticking out of this? These Pentel Aquash brushes, maybe they're counterfeit. Maybe they're not real. They drip too much water, and these hairs are constantly coming out that I'm having to cut off. This is not the way any of my other Pentel brushes work. I've been trimming these constantly. And yes, I am very much a hypocrite because I love that this is stained blue. It's fine with me. I have no problem with it. But the green is different. That is not a real color. Okay, just quickly looking at this again. I love that color. I didn't think I would. When I first put it down, I thought this is not a color for me. I love that color. I love this color. I'm very happy. I like these colors. I'm very happy with the kind of variation that I'll get in here. Hopefully I can do something with this. I'm even going to use this nonsense over here. This right down here, I will try and use it because I do like a good Prussian blue. I really do. It just makes me angry. But it's a very pretty color. I like it. And I love the cerulean. I'm happy with this palette. I think I'm going to be able to do something with it. Let's see what I can do. Okay, so this palette I think is great. I went ahead and after I swatched everything here, like this, I went ahead and went back through everything again. And I'm going through some of these colors and I can see a bunch of colors on here that I absolutely love. And in the painting, I was able to get some variation because I didn't mix anything. But what I did do was there was variation. There was some purples and violets with grays and blues. So there is a good color mix in there. I didn't think there was going to be. I was nervous about this one. Now I don't think that this is the most wonderful piece in the world, but I'm happy with it. I think it turned out okay. And I did enjoy certain parts of it, the top right and towards the end, you'll see on the left side, this is your left, the left side there, right in this, like the center of the page, but all the way to the left. I absolutely love that section. I thought it was absolutely beautiful, and that was the Artemis. I just put some water down and charged the Artemis into it, and it looks beautiful. It looks pink and blue and just wonderful. I think it was a real, and I am so excited about this series, this whole thing here, this set here, this group here, whatever you want to call it, because I was nervous. I thought, yeah, whenever I see all the blues, there's like 2 of them that I pick, and the rest of them they can just go away. But I really enjoyed a lot of these, and I think some of these are very unique to DaVinci. I don't think that they're in any other set. You know what? No, the one I did there, that was not the Artemis. That was the Joyce's Mother Violet. That was on the left, your left. They were just beautiful. I did the Artemis too. That was on the bottom right that I charged some water into that one. And I like how that one came out too. But there's just so many colors in here that I really enjoyed and that I like. And that when I put them next to each other, they complement each other in a way that they're just not all the same. Yes, it looks like it's slightly an analogous painting, because it is, kind of. But there's enough purples and grays and blues all together, different shades of everything that mix it up. And I thought it was great. I did enjoy this a lot. But you are the final judge. You get to decide, was this worth it? Was this a good thing or not? Did you enjoy all the similar colors being put next to each other? Did that look okay to you? So far, again, I'm going to say it every time, I have been loving this series. I think it is absolutely wonderful, and I am enjoying it so much. I can't wait to do the next one. I can't wait to get there. And at the end, when I get to pull from all the different palettes and put my palette together of DaVinci paints, I'm going to love it even more. We're going to do something like that. I will show you what I think I want, and then I may change a tweak or thing or here or two, but don't worry about that. I will make sure that I'm happy with whatever set I put together. And I think I can get by with a more limited, not so many, but we have to see, because so far the colors that are here, I'm going to pick a couple from each one. When I get to the earth tones, that's where I can't guarantee anything, because I like some greens. Now, I know I always have a problem with greens, but there are certain greens that I absolutely love, and I love earth tones. So I may pick a bunch of them. Maybe I'll put together a set of 12. Maybe I'll put together a set of 24. I don't know. Maybe 18. I don't know what I'm going to do. But when I get there, I'll find out, and so will you. And I tell you what, I really needed this today. I look forward to this all day because, all week. This was a rough week. There were some things that had me a little shaken this week. It was the last 3 months have been rough. 4 months now have been rough. but this last week kind of shook me a little bit, but that's okay. You know what I wanted to do? I couldn't wait to come out and hang out with my friends, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm hanging out with my friends, and that's what we're doing. We're having a good time. We're enjoying ourselves, and I needed this. I just couldn't wait to get back to the art and tell you all about it because that's what I love to do. That's what I enjoy doing. I'm so glad I get the chance to do that with you. So that's wonderful. And I ended up going with the number 8 sable brush because the 6, it was a little bit too small. I wanted to use a little bit bigger. And the thing that I like about watercolor brushes is they come to a point. So you can get some little small spots and you can get some big wide swatches of color, and that's wonderful too. So I did enjoy that, but that number 8 sable, I was able to do everything I wanted to with it. It held the water like I wanted to. It held the paint like I wanted to. I was able to lift with it like I wanted to. It was fine. It was a wonderful experience, just like you would expect from a real sable brush. So that's what I did. I will have a link for that down below, as well as these dot cards. I'm going to have a link for them too, so go and check them out. If you think you're enjoying this series and you think you want to do your own swatching of them, go ahead and do it. Or you can wait till the very end and then get the set then, or just look at what colors I use and pick your own colors. But either way, these DaVinci paints are blowing me away. I don't know, I've heard people complain about them. I have heard people complain. Well, you know, they're not like the big brands. Let me tell you something. They put some of the big brands to shame. I have thoroughly enjoyed these. So much so that I can't wait to get to the next one. I can't wait. I want to do it right now. I can't because I can't talk anymore. But I will do the next one next week. We'll do another one. And we'll do another one after that and another one after that with all of them. So that'll be fun. We're gonna have a good time. I've had other people get in touch with me saying, hey, can we give you some stuff? And I said, no, not yet. You got to wait because this series is important. I wanted to do this for a long time. I got all the dots and I got to swatch the dots. They may not know what I mean when I say that, but I got to swatch the dots. I think so far I'm doing okay with my pronunciations. You tell me. I think I've pronounced everything very well so far, but I could be wrong. I usually am. That's my life. I am usually wrong. And is there some kind of list to get your name on a color? I don't. Joyce's mother got a color and Jackson got a color. And I maybe think that maybe Pete needs to have a color. I think I need to get my name on that list. Just like these people popping up on the screen here. They have their name on a list because they support me and they're wonderful people and I appreciate them. So thumb up the video if you are going to at least take a look at some DaVinci paints. Just take a look. See if you like them. And you let me know what's going on with them because sometimes I don't know. But they've got some unique colors. Colors I've never seen in other colors, other brands. They have some variations that I've never seen. Let's put it that way. That I've never seen. I've never seen an ultramarine green shade. Have you? I've never seen that. And they are a little bit different. And you can tell it's more of a greener shade because it's a little bit more to that tone. So that's interesting. I've never seen that before. Some of the ceruleans, the cerulean blue, the hue, the sky, sea and sky, and the manganese blue, they're beautiful colors. I love those colors. Those light blues, they're very nice. And they've got dark blues and separating colors, and they've got it all right here. So I'm very excited to see how we move forward with all of this. All right, I'm sure I've got some things to show you here. So you know I've got these things here. And I enjoyed these swatch. Oh, that's upside down. Okay, again. And I know, you know, we've swatched these out already. We've got some things. Oh, I didn't pick up both of them. I have to pick up both of them when I do that. Again, we are on to our third grouping of colors, and I can't wait to get to them. We have the... This isn't the third one. Did I write 3 on it? I did write 3 on it. I don't think this is the right one. Hold on, let me go get the right one. Oh, they put a they tried to trick me. Did you see what they did? Phthalo green in my blues. It's a Prussian blue. It's all by itself. It doesn't need a green. Oh, they tried to ruin my brushes. I got brand new water brushes. They tried to ruin them. Let me get back to the swatching. If you'd like to join our community, head over to illustrationsbypete.com. You can just check some things out. You go through the site however you want and sign up for the newsletter that I almost never send out because I don't want to annoy the crap out of you more than I already do with my nonsense in these videos. But I'd love to hear from you, so come on over. All right.